everyone, it's me Pratima and this is the Redmi Note 14 Pro, Xiaomi's latest mid-range phone for 2025. Now, if you look at the past few years, I genuinely think that Redmi phones are getting kind of boring. So, can this finally be the year? Here, the Redmi Note 14 Pro starts at 25,000 Indian rupees, and at this price, we all know that there are seriously plenty of great phones like the Poco F6, the Nothing Phone 2a Plus and the Realme 12 Pro Plus. So yeah, a pretty competitive space for a brand that was once the king of mid-range phones. But after testing the Redmi Note 14 Pro for a couple of days now, alongside the more expensive Note 14 Pro Plus, there are a lot of things to like about this phone. First, I really like this design here. You get curved aesthetics versus the flat design we saw on last year's Redmi Note 13 Pro. Hence, it's a much more comfortable phone to hold. It's also lightweight and I like this purple vegan leather finish. I think it looks stunning. The Redmi Note 14 Pro even has all kinds of IP ratings now, IP66, IP68, IP69, which means it can survive everything from high pressure to high temperature water jets. And you can also completely submerge it in water, of course. The display on the Redmi Note 14 Pro is fantastic too. You could actually mistake it for a proper flagship screen if you just read some of its specs. It's got a 12-bit OLED panel with 100% DCI-P3 colors, 120Hz refresh rate, 3000 nits of peak brightness, high PWM dimming, and both HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision certification. You also get these tiny uniform bezels, and it is also protected by the flagship Gorilla Glass Victus 2. So overall, I enjoyed my time with this screen, be it while scrolling Twitter feed or watching videos on Netflix and YouTube. Also, the speakers here are easily one of the best I've heard on a mid-range phone. It gets plenty loud, it sounds quite full, and I love how none of this comes at the expense of clarity or details either. But I have to tell you that Xiaomi has indeed cheaped out on the haptics here. It does have an X-axis vibration motor, however, it's still not as sharp or precise as I would like. The Pro Plus has much better haptics in my opinion. Anyway, battery life is another thing I love about the Redmi Note 14 Pro. We get a big 5500 mAh silicon carbon battery here, and I have easily been getting like 7 to 8 hours of screen on time here, even under fairly heavy kind of usage pattern. The charging speed, however, has become slower compared to last year, down from 67 watt to 45 watt, but it can still fuel it up from 0 to 60% in around 30 minutes or 100% in an hour, so that's not a big deal. Okay, so far I have talked about its design that I love, the display that I love, and the battery life that I love as well. All the good stuff basically, but there are a few things about the Redmi Note 14 Pro that are just average, like its performance, for example. The Dimensity 7300 Ultra here is an okay-ish chip, as it does not necessarily feel slow or sluggish in any way, but I really wish Xiaomi had gone with a more powerful chip this time, maybe the Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 or the Dimensity 8300 Ultra we saw on the Poco X6 Pro. Also, it only has DDR4X RAM and UFS 2.2 storage, so definitely not a fast phone for the price. And I noticed it's behind the competition when I started gaming on this thing. The stability, the thermals, and even the average FPS I am getting here is inferior to some of the cheaper phones that you can get at this very price bracket. Likewise, I'm also disappointed to see Xiaomi repeating the same mistake as last year by releasing last-gen software here. So instead of the new Android 15-based HyperOS 2.0, this one runs on Android 14-based HyperOS 1.0. There are 3+4 years of updates here to look forward to, but that also means that you're only getting up to Android 17. Plus, the new HyperOS 2 has some cool and useful AI features on top of a couple of new customization options. So that all is not arriving here right now out of the box. Finally, the Redmi Note 14 Pro's cameras are not that competitive either. I think they should have provided Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus's camera here, both the main and the 2.5x telephoto lens. As you can see, comparing it with the Note 14 Pro Plus, its camera is not at the same level in almost all of the images, be it daytime or nighttime. It blows out the highlights and is not quite as detailed as the Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus. And as expected, the 8-megapixel ultra-wide-angle shooter is also very weak. There's not much detail to zoom into, and the white balance and dynamic range is really poor. The color consistency between the main and the ultra wide angle lens is off as well. Although one thing I like about the Note 14 Pro is if I click photos of flowers, it looks more punchy and eye-pleasing than the Pro Plus. However, if I click human subjects, it applies a bit of a smoothening even when I have all the beautification stuff turned off, and depending upon the subject's skin tone, it also tends to apply reddish or pinkish or yellowish tints somehow. Its videos are also quite average. The main camera can do up to 4K 30 FPS videos, but even though Xiaomi is using EIS by cropping the field of view, the footage is still visibly jerky here. Plus, you can see that it can't lock in exposure properly either, and it's the same with its ultra-wide and selfie videos as well. So yeah, very mediocre cameras all around. Alright, so overall, there are a lot of things to love about the Redmi Note 14 Pro and a lot of things that's just quite average. I like its gorgeous design, the fantastic display and excellent battery life, but I suppose instead of providing all those IP ratings, Redmi should have prioritized and invested in a better chipset and camera hardware, which would have enhanced the overall experience. I mean, yes, IP68 and IP69 are great to have, but these components have increased the price of this phone, which means Redmi had to cheap out on inferior chipset and camera sensors. Plus, right now, there are just better alternatives you can find under 25,000 rupees price range, like the Poco F6 if you want the best gaming experience in this segment, the Realme 12 Pro Plus if you want a good design and better cameras, or the Nothing Phone 2A Plus if you want a cleaner software experience. All of them are currently available under 25,000 rupees. Alright everybody, that was all for my full review of the Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus. Do let me know in the comments below if you agree with me saying that Redmi has sort of lost its charm. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well and hit that notifications bell. Till then, I'm Pratima and I will see you in my next video.